Valentine's Day has always been a special moment for many couples. But for Yeon-seok and Chae Soo-bin, this year felt even more extraordinary. After starring together in a drama and showcasing incredible on-screen chemistry, many fans began speculating about their real-life relationship. Although both have always maintained a professional demeanor in public, rumors about their closeness never subsided. And now, on this warm Valentine's night, they chose to celebrate it in an intimate way, far from the public eye. Since early February, Yeon-seok had been planning a surprise for Soo-bin. Known as a thoughtful and romantic man, he wanted to ensure that their Valentine's night would be unforgettable. With the help of a few close friends, he made a reservation at a small restaurant on the outskirts of Seoul, a place renowned for its serene atmosphere and beautiful city views. On the other hand, Soo-bin had no idea that Yeon-seok had something special planned. As an actress busy with various projects, she had even thought she might spend this Valentine's Day alone. However, a simple text from Yeon-seok changed everything. A small smile graced her face. Although they had never openly discussed their relationship, she knew that Yeon-seok always had a way of showing his feelings. When evening arrived, Soo-bin, dressed in a simple yet elegant dress, stepped out of her apartment. Yeon-seok was already waiting in his car, wearing a casual suit that made him look even more handsome than usual. They arrived at the restaurant, which was warm and romantic. Their table was placed in a corner with a large window offering a view of Seoul bathed in city lights. Small candles lit the table, adding to the intimate atmosphere. They enjoyed course after course, chatting about many things, from their latest projects to their future dreams. There were no cameras, no reporters, just the two of them sharing happiness in the quiet of the night. Midway through their conversation, Yeon-seok pulled out a small red box from his pocket. Soo-bin looked at him with curious eyes. With a racing heart, Soo-bin opened the box to find a gold bracelet with a small engraving that read, "Always with you." Soo-bin was silent for a moment, then looked up at Yeon-seok, who was now smiling warmly. "You know, I'm not really into jewelry," she joked. "But this isn't just jewelry," Yeon-seok replied. "It's a symbol that I'll always be here for you, whenever you need me." Soo-bin's eyes glistened, but she quickly looked away, laughing softly. "You're really too romantic," she said as she fastened the bracelet around her wrist. That night, they spent every moment together, savoring each second with pure happiness. There were no explicit declarations of love, but in every glance and smile, they knew their feelings were real. As the night drew to a close, they walked together along the Han River. The cold wind blew gently, but the warmth between them was more than enough to keep the chill at bay. Soo-bin held Yeon-seok's hand tightly, saying nothing. She didn't know how long they could keep their relationship away from the public eye, but for now, she just wanted to cherish every moment they had, and under the starry night sky of Seoul, two hearts spoke in silence, celebrating a Valentine's Day that belonged only to them, along the Han River. Their steps fell in sync in a comfortable silence. Occasionally, the soft sound of the river's waves accompanied their light conversation. Yeon-seok took a deep breath, enjoying the fresh night air, then glanced at Chae Soo-bin, who was still holding his hand. "You know, I always thought Valentine's Day was just an ordinary day," Soo-bin said softly. "But this year feels different." Yeon-seok chuckled, then squeezed Soo-bin's hand tighter. "Then I'll make sure every Valentine's Day is special for you." Soo-bin turned and looked at him for a long moment. There were so many things she wanted to say, but in the end, she simply smiled and nodded slowly. Their love might not be public, but on that night, far from the cameras, they didn't need to hide their feelings from each other. As the wind grew colder, Yeon-seok took off his jacket and draped it over Soo-bin's shoulders. "I don't want you to catch a cold," he said. Soo-bin smiled and pulled the jacket tighter around her. "You're really too good," she teased. After walking a while longer, they arrived in front of Soo-bin's apartment. The night was late, and though both wished they could spend more time together, they knew it was time to part. Soo-bin looked at him with a meaningful gaze, then gave a small smile. "Good night, Yeon-seok." As she entered her apartment, Subin could still feel the gentle touch on her forehead, her heart filled with an indescribable happiness. Outside, Yooyeonseok walked away with a satisfied smile on his face. Their love might still be hidden from the world, but for them, what mattered most was the real feelings they shared. And that Valentine's night became the beginning of a deeper love story, one only they knew the beauty of. That night, after Subin entered her apartment, she didn't go straight to bed. She sat on the sofa, staring at her phone, which still displayed Yeon-seok's last message. After sending it, she leaned her head back against the sofa, still feeling the remnants of happiness from their Valentine's date. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to recall every detail of Yeon-seok's smile, the way he looked at her, even how warm his hand felt when it held hers by the Han River. Elsewhere in the city, Yeon-seok was also still awake. He read Subin's message with a smile on his face, then placed his phone on the bedside table. He knew his feelings for Subin were growing deeper, and tonight only solidified that. The next morning, though they hadn't planned it, fate seemed to bring them together again. Subin was sitting in a small cafe in Gangnam, enjoying a cup of hot tea while reading the script for her latest drama. Subin looked up and found Yeon-seok standing in front of her with his signature smile. He looked neat in a cream sweater and a long brown coat, as if he had just finished his schedule. Yeon-seok pulled out a chair across from her and sat down casually. "Maybe the universe wants us to meet again," he teased. Subin just shook her head, smiling. She couldn't deny that she was happy to see him. Yeon-seok waved to the waiter and ordered 2 croissants and coffee. "Then let me treat you to breakfast. Consider it a continuation of our date last night." Yeon-seok looked at her, then shrugged casually. "Since I realized I wanted to do this again and again." Subin fell silent, her heart beating faster. There was something in the way Yeon-seok spoke that made her feel special. In the bustling cafe, it was as if only the two of them existed, lost in their own conversation. And in that moment, they both knew that their feelings were no longer just a coincidence, but something that was slowly growing deeper and more real. And this Valentine's Day, perhaps, was just the beginning of a greater love story between them.